back everybody, good to see you all. If you've been with me before, then it's lovely to see you. If you're only just joining me, then it's great to have you here as well. And please do follow along. This is going to be the beginning of a series of various vlogs leading up to Christmas. We've only got about 6 weeks left, and I'm someone that likes to plan for Christmas. Part of that is because we can end up with quite a lot of family here over Christmas. Mike and I are second marriage, and I have 3 children with their families, and Mike's daughter usually comes and sees us over Christmas as well. So sometimes I've got everyone here on Christmas Day, other days people come in bits and pieces. And so every year I like to plan out what I'm going to do. I love Christmas, I love family. It's just having the family here is so special. It's been lovely over the years when we've had the young grandchildren, but obviously this year with my daughter having gone back overseas, we'll only have the older grandchildren with my children, but when Mike's daughter comes, she has 2 little ones as well. So there's a lot of thinking about presents, about food, about decoration, and for me, there's also making things for people and for the table. So each year I have my special little book. I have a little red book, which is my Christmas book, and I think this is the second one now. And I'll begin by checking with the family what days they're coming. So then I can work backwards from the days of what we need to do. And so as we go through Christmas, I'm going to share with you how I'm planning for it and what I'm doing. But there are some things that get done right at the beginning, the very first things I do. And the first thing I do is get my Christmas cake and my Christmas pudding made. So they'll be the first things I'll share with you, are making my Christmas cake and making my Christmas pudding. And then I need to think about what I want on the table. I make, as part of my patchwork, I make table runners. So I'll share with you some of the table runners I've made in the past. I'll share with you the ones that I've already got for Christmas. And then this year, I'm going to make a table runner and place a new table runner and placemats. So we'll do that as a craft project between now and Christmas and get those made. So that'll be the next thing, to get that done before I get into the rest of the food preparation for Christmas. In the past, I've often also made a small gift for everybody. So I've made things like phone stands and laptop stands out of fabric. I've made book covers. I've made, and back during COVID, I made little bags in which I put hand gel and various other bits and a handmade mask and all that sort of stuff. So I've done all sorts of things in the past as gifts. I'm not sure if I've got time for that this year, so we'll have to wait and see. If there is some time, I might make something small as a gift for everybody, but I need to have a think about that one. And then as we get into the last 2 weeks before Christmas, that's when I start to make all the extras. So I make things like shortbread and Christmas biscuits. I make fudge. I make some other things as well, but it's all in my book. So as we go along, I'll share the different recipes I make. I'll share the sewing. And of course, in a couple of weeks' time, we'll be thinking about decorating the house, and we'll show you how we decorate our house. So what I'm saying to you today is, I've come along with me on my journey as we prepare for Christmas. We've got a 6-week countdown, and join me as we go along. And as my little book comes into such use, I'll share with you how I plan my Christmas dinner, how I plan the menu for Christmas dinner and the day, the timings and things like that. Not guaranteeing you'll actually see Christmas Day, because once all the family are here, it's chaos. But we will see how we go, all right? So I hope you'll enjoy that with me. Do come along and let's prepare for Christmas together. Ho, ho, ho. Well, welcome to the kitchen again, and one of the first things that I get prepared for Christmas is my Christmas cake and my Christmas pudding. When I worked in education. I was a teacher, I was a head teacher actually, and so I always had to plan my Christmas around the holidays. I've prepared for the whole family, as I said, for years, and so I used to use the half term as a sort of starting point for getting ready for Christmas. And so normally I would try and get my Christmas cake and my Christmas pudding made over half term. I'm late this year and we're already into November, but we've still got 6 weeks till Christmas. So I'm going to get the Christmas cake made and then I'll get the Christmas pudding made. So I thought I'd share with you on this video how I make my Christmas cake. So I'm going to turn you around so I can show you what I've got in the kitchen and how I'm going to go about this. Just to say, this is a Mary Berry recipe, so I'm actually using a new recipe this year. Most of my Christmas cooking in the past has come from a very old cookery book called Delia's Christmas, and I will use that for my Christmas pudding because it comes out beautifully every year. But I just thought this year, Mary Berry's got a really lovely Christmas cake recipe, so I'm basing my Christmas cake on her recipe. So I'll share that with you and show you what goes in. And then if you want to make a Christmas cake, you can try the same one if you want to. And if not, you can just enjoy seeing mine. Obviously, this will be the cake. I'll get round to icing it later. So it goes into storage and then I ice it later. So let's get this Christmas cake made. First thing I need to do before I even make the cake is to actually prepare the tin. So I have a really nice 8-inch cake tin, which has a removable base to it. So I need to line this, and the trick is actually to get the cake out well. If it's well lined and well buttered, then it will come out well. So I'm just going to draw around the base to give me a piece of greaseproof, it's baking parchment to go in the bottom, and cut that out. And then I will make strips to go around the thing, so around the tin. So I'll just do that and then I'll show you what it looks like when I've done it. I've greased the base and cut the circle. Just going to put that in there and push that down onto the grease base. I just used the butter wrapper to grease around the pan, and I've greased around the edges. Now I need to make a collar, and that needs to be a piece of greaseproof that will go all the way around the tin. So what I do is I sort of roughly measure around the tin. Move that out of the way so you can see the paper. And then if I fold this in half this way, so I'll fold that in half. And then, I'm in half again. That gives me a good protection around the cake, because the other thing you don't want is the cake catching on the outside. So you want sort of you want a decent bit of greaseproof or baking parchment in between. Right, and then take the tin and fold it side down is easiest to get it into the bottom of the tin. And what I usually do is fold it round like that, pop it in, but far too much. But I always rather have it too long and too short, because then you want to press it out to the sides of the tin like that, and then that will hold all your mixture in the tin. I've got a couple of clips that I use to hold the paper together, so I'll do that, and then we'll have a look at actually making the cake mixture. So I actually started all this last night, because the first thing you have to do is to soak all the fruit in some brandy if you're going to get a really good Christmas cake. So yesterday I put into here, I've got cherries. I'll just take a few of them out. So cherries cut up into quarters, some apricot chopped up, and then there's sultanas and carrots and raisins and some chopped peel. Put all that in the bowl, add the brandy, swirl it all around, cover it overnight. I gave it another turn this morning, and I just gave it another turn. So that fruit's now soaked up all the brandy. So that's the fruit that will go into the cake in a minute, but the cake that goes in after we put the other ingredients in. So let's get the other ingredients into the bowl, and I'm using my mixer to do this. You can use a hand mixer as well. I used to use a hand mixer, but since I've had my lovely KitchenAid that I bought this year, I'm actually going to use this mixer. So into here I need to put, to start, let me just check my recipe because I know sometimes I can go wrong. So, yeah, so it all goes in. So I'm going to put in the flour, plain flour, alright, so just plain flour. Dark brown sugar. Softened butter. Softened butter. Unsalted butter. Or you can use baking butter or stalk if you prefer. Just at Christmas I like to use the good stuff. So softened butter. Just put that bit off and get it in. Then we want we've got one of these out before, haven't we? So about 1/4 teaspoon of just grated nutmeg. You can use ready grated, but I quite like to do freshly grated. And the family like the nutmeg in the cake, so I should put a reasonable amount in there. So grated nutmeg. We want 4 eggs. And we want the zest of lemon. So this is my nice new grater that I bought the other week. I think we showed you this when we got it while we were in. Doesn't work. Yeah, got this in the shop the other day, didn't we? Showed you that. This is oh my gosh, this is a really good zester. I'm really pleased with this. It's doing a brilliant job. My old one that I just used for the nutmeg was absolutely useless for doing this sort of thing. So good. So, lemon and orange. So all these lovely Christmas flavours, nutmeg and lemon and orange. And right, so zest of the orange, whoops. And then just slightly less than a tablespoon of treacle, so I'm just going to let that such sticky horrible stuff, but it does make a big difference. I'm just going to leave that to drain off back into there for the moment. I'll sort that out afterwards. Right, so all of that is now going to go onto the mixer and get mixed together. And then we'll put this fruit in with it afterwards. Oh, I've got the beater on. I just need to get the beater on. So to get the beater, I'll turn you off while I beat that, and then I'll show you putting the fruit in. Right, so look at it, just put it on gently to start with to get it all mixing in together. And take it up to there to get it well beaten. Oh, it smells lovely. I can really smell the nutmeg and the orange and the lemon. That's lovely. And you want to make sure that's beaten until all the butter is very completely beaten in. But sometimes you can find little bits of butter left in there if you don't give it long enough to beat it up really well. You've got to go for it. There we go, all mixed in. And so now what we need to do is to add the fruit in as well. And you fold in the fruit, so I'm just going to, I'll bring this off, bring it over, and then show you folding in the fruit. So there we go, that's all well mixed now. So take all this fruit now, and then this takes quite a bit of doing. This all needs to be folded into the mixture. Basically, a Christmas cake is a very, very fruity cake. you're really, what I've mixed for this to go in, it's so much fruit that you just need to get all the fruit coated in the mixture and bring up what's on the bottom and get it well mixed in. All that mixed together. Sure, I haven't got anything that's just plain without the fruit. There we go. That's all nicely mixed together now. So now we're just going to bring our tin over. We're going to get all this into that tin. Just need to smooth that out into the tin. There are a few little bits of butter still in there, but that will melt very quickly. It's already soft, so it's just merging in. Not much though. Smooth that out. Ready to go into the oven. It's a low heat oven for a period of time, so that's going to go into a low oven at 120 fans, so a low oven, but it is in there for 4.5–5 hours. So you do need to do this when you've got time to have it in the oven, and I will check it after about 3.5 and see how it's doing. But that's ready now to go in the oven, so I shall put that in and I'll show you later when it comes out and how I just finish it off, and then that will go into store. I'll show you how I do that until I'm ready to ice it right next to in Christmas week. Great, Christmas cake done. Ready to go in the oven. The thing I forgot to mention was that you do need to put double grease proof on the top, and I just cut a little hole to let the air out. So that's going into the oven now with that grease proof on the top, which will protect the top of the cake from burning. So it's going into the oven now. So it's actually the next morning. I took the cake out yesterday evening, and it needs to completely cool before I actually feed it, which is what I'm going to do now. So I've left it to cool overnight. So I'll just show you the cake, and then we'll get on with just doing this last bit of getting it packed away, ready for Christmas. So here's the cake out of the oven. So we'll take off the bit that was smirching the top. You can see that's all nicely baked now. It's firm to the touch. When you take it out the oven, I actually only did 4.25 hours. I took it out slightly early because it was baked. But the way of knowing whether it's baked is you put a skewer thing here down into it to see if it's all set, and then also just a gentle press on the top to make sure that it's not still soft. So that's in there now. So the next thing I need to do is to feed it with some brandy. So same brandy as I put in the mix here, and I'm going to put that into the cake. So take my cocktail stick, I'm going to go all over the cake, digging that in. Oh, you can feel what a lovely fruit cake that is as you put it in. Just give it good holes all the way over, so there's plenty for it to sink into. Go down as far as you can, and then just with a spoon, I'm just going to use a dessert spoon to start with. Good. Fed. Now sometimes I will do that again a couple of times before Christmas, but not always. So just depends how things are going, but let's right, so that's now fed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get baking paper and kitchen foil. I'm going to take it out the tin and wrap it all up. Sorry, you're a bit lopsided there, I'm not sure why. So let me just get this out the tin and then I'll show you wrapping it up. That's out of the tin. I've left the greaseproofer on the top and on the bottom because that helps keep that moisture in that you've kept in there through all the cooking. And then I've got a piece of fine baking parchment and then a cross of foil. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring the baking parchment up so that that comes up over the top there, like that. And I'm going to bring up the foil to hold that in place. And the same on the side. And that's all encased. And that should keep all that lovely, yummy moisture and the brandy and everything that's inside that in that cake. And then I have some my Christmas tins. I got these years ago in Aldi. I think I have some others as well. But these are the round ones, and I have some wrong ones. So it's the largest one of those I use for the Christmas cake. The other one I get used to something else as we go along. Put it on the lid because then I can get to it easily to feed it, and then pop the tin on over the top. And then that will go into my larder and I can bring it out a couple of times between now and Christmas and feed it with a bit more brandy if I want to. Since we're all adults this year at Christmas, we haven't got little grandchildren, well, apart from if Mike's daughter comes, but they're not fruit cake eaters anyway. So for the adults that'll be really nice. So that's the Christmas cake made. The next thing will be the Christmas pudding.